This is the Bar Steward's Enquiry.
Right? You're talking absolute rubbish. Absolute rubbish.
In what way?
You were an underachiever in life. I saved your bacon one time. You were gone.
You handled that well. I couldn't save you. But you did the right thing.
But that's why you don't know anything about racing, John.
I didn't say I do.
Right?
I'm saying that...
What have you contributed to racing? You're one of these take-out merchants. Take out all you can.
A big one welcome to the Bar Stewards Inquiry Weekend podcast, where we've got the Lingfield, Oaks and Derby trials, we've got Ascot, and I think we can forget about Haydock. Certainly from a jumps racing perspective. It's the flat season, isn't it, John and Jack Veach? Welcome, gents, to an action-packed show. Good evening, chaps.
Good evening, Lee. How are we doing?
Very good. John, are you all good?
Flat-tastic.
Flat. I like it. Right, okay. So for listeners that haven't tuned in before, this is the first round of best bets. 1, 2 and 3 points. Then we'll talk rubbish about the TV races to come. So going on to a 1 point bet. Jack, I'm going to fire you in first because you're due a change of luck on this show.
Yeah, no, I've had to think long and hard this week because I owe myself and others a few winners, so I'll do my very best. So we are off to Haydock for the first one. Certainly not over the sticks. You won't be surprised to hear. But this is the 2:10. It's the Potemps Network Handicap over a mile. It's a horse I backed last time out actually over course and distance, and horse in question is Clive Cox filly Conservationist. I thought she ran. I thought it looked like a bit of a float up last time out, if I'm honest. She did finish 8th of 9th. I mean, it wasn't exactly a brilliant performance, but she was well backed on the day into favourite, and I thought she may well have just needed the run. I think 84 is going to be below where this one ends up at the end of the year. Her 5th in the Montrose at the back end. I know that form's taken a couple of knocks, but in the grand scheme of this particular race, I don't think it's bad at all. And I thought the sort of 8-to-1s, that might have gone actually whilst we've been talking, annoyingly. Someone's stolen it. No, touch bigger.
No,
actually.
You've got 9s. You can have 9s with Hills and Bet Victor.
Yeah. So I was happy to row in with her again. I think she's got a race in her off this mark, and I'm hoping that is tomorrow.
Fantastic. Nice price selection to start the weekend off, Jack. Did you say you're going on the nose or each way?
On the nose. Absolutely.
On the nose. 1 point win at 9-1 with Hills and Bet Victor. Cheers, Jack. On to you, John.
Right, fairly boring this. 7-10 Leicester, Lawton. Lovely debut, good start, was backed away a bit. Yards in Fairnick, plenty to like. Will handle the ground, is bare pivotal. 1 point win.
Yeah, I like the debut, John. I think you it might be a sort of safe play, but I think it's fairly safe. Half arm, are you happy with that?
Yeah.
Half arm for John, 6-4. For John's first selection, they're going in the soup at Leicester tomorrow evening. Okay, can I be as boring? Well, I think I can really, yeah. No, actually, this one isn't bad. It goes in the 4:20 at Ascot tomorrow. We love a Fillies handicap. John loves them. So we go to this race, and it's a nice big filly, this, of Roger Varian's, Croke Hill, and Daft Roger. I mean, he placed this filly terribly last season. She's a big filly. I'm certain myself she doesn't like fast.
This running the Gold Street.
It was 4th at York in a handicap. It ran at the Ebor meeting.
Right.
And it ran. But again, I said to you, I said, ground will be too quick for her, John. And she just didn't have the gears on it. And her debut was really good. A lot of promise when she was second on debut. She didn't get the run of the race there, and she shaped with a lot of promise on the all-weather. And I just feel now, and I mean, the daft idiot took her to Pontefract last run, from a wide draw and everything. He was just absolutely mental to run her there. And I think she'd had enough for the season. But my snout also tells me that she's training very well at the moment. So we're going to go 1 point win at 10-1 that Croke Hill. Now she gets her conditions. 82, I think, is going to prove very fair indeed. I think she can go higher than that on ground softer than good. So Croke Hill, 10-1 generally available for a point. John, I'll swing it back round to you.
Yeah, right. Well, I'm sorry, but another fairly boring selection, to be honest. Sacred, 225 Lingfield.
Yes.
I just think, well, there's no point in keeping her on in a fifth year if she can't win something like this, because that would make her regressive, in my opinion.
Yes.
I think all she has to do is turn up here as Sacred. And I think she'll be winning this. I'm not that keen on Sandrine under these conditions. And I think the rest of the opposition's pretty thin, in all honesty. But Queen Annie Marta ran a fucking awful race at the Curragh last time. And as I said, I just think the opposition's thin. She's got a lovely draw here. Ryan about. What's not to like?
Yeah, I did come to a similar conclusion. I was a bit worried about the inside draw and a horse that likes to come from behind. But apart from that, you've got the all-weather angle with the Exceeding XL and American Dam, and Sacred's never run on the all-weather, which I find interesting. So I think that's another plus. So yeah, not a lot not to like. So I'm just looking at prices for you. We'll give you 7 or 4, John.
Well,
you can have so a couple of points for John at 7 or 4 Sacred in the televised Chartwell Fillies listed stakes.
It does get more interesting, I promise you.
Doesn't matter if they win. Who cares?
Exactly. This is what our listeners want, winners, and I'm quite confident actually that we're going to deliver tomorrow. The second bet of mine is one that we've talked about on the pods before, the horses to follow, etc. Westerton, that goes into 345. Ascot definitely ran into one last time in the shape of James Ferguson's, was it Wonder Legend or something, that looks probably group class. In fact, he thinks it's group class because he put it in the King Ted as James Ferguson. So obviously Westerton just ran into one. Westerton comfortably beat the others. And what I like in this race is Masai Mara, for me, I don't like as a horse. I wasn't that impressed with Dasher Lenny last time that I backed. And I think Shabazz is right up there at the sort of top of its mark. So I thought Westerton would have too much for these, and I was confident at 5-2. Andrea at Zenit, the drunk in the saddle, but still 5-2. I think it's a good price. So that's my 2-point win bet generally available on Westerton. Jack, finishes the round, please.
So we're off to probably one of my favourite races of the calendar, weirdly, which is the 240 at Ascot, the Vicky Cup.
Yes.
Horrendous bit of after timing, but I've actually backed the winner last 2 years in a row, so I'm hoping to make it 3.
That's terrible.
What time of the run?
I just like to make myself feel good occasionally. But
you've woken the posh Martin Ogre there. You've woke him up.
Oh God. Well, and I'm going to make matters even worse. I'm going to be doing a bit of split stake wankering with this one as well. So you'll all hate me. So the first of which is the Clive Cox train. I've tipped up 2 Clive Cox horses tonight. Kingdom Come. Really like this one. Obviously took a while. I've had him in the tracker since his debut, actually, when he was in quite a hot maiden back in the summer of 21 at Newbury. Thought he shaped okay on the day. Mediocre effort next time out, and then was off the track for best part year and a half, and has absolutely sluiced up on the all-weather 3 times in a row. Was in the Lincoln, but they took him out. I'm not quite sure why, probably just trying to take their time with him a little bit. But actually, I think 7 and a course like Ascot would be perfect for him. Obviously, ground is a little bit concerning, given he's only ever raced on good or good to firm. But a bit of deep diving into the pedigree, Dam won on soft in Germany, so that's probably the proper slop. And the half sibling Miss Yoda went fine on the soft stuff as well. I like to play high draws in this particular race. It just tends to be one of those where, for whatever reason, it ultimately plays out well. He's drawn in 18, which is fine. Travels very, very nicely, and I thought he'd be a little bit shorter than the 11-1 on offer. So I'm going to have 1.5 points of my 2 on him. And the other half point is going on Perotto. Again, a horse that his best performance was over course in the Britannia, and obviously hasn't really delivered much since then. They've kind of Yes, that's main angle, John, really, to be honest. I mean, he's got that back down to a workable mark. He's off 97 now, won the Britannia off 99. I think he's got one of these in him. I don't know if it's tomorrow, but I'm not going to let him go for free. So I'll have a 0.5 point on Perotto, 1.5 on Kingdom Come.
How much Tregonin fail when Zarian's classed as a trainer upgrade? Fucking hell.
Daft Roger. Yeah, so 1.5 on Kingdom Come, 11-1 generally available, folks, and 0.5 point win on Perotto at 14-1, also generally available. Nice selections, Jack, in the Vicky Cup. Just for our Patreon subscribers, the East End ICF crew posted the other day a bet for the Vicky Cup. Davis has been at it again. Look what he's done, John. Look what he's done to the prize of Totally Charming. He's put it up at 14-1. It's now into 6-5. It's been smashed all over London. This Davis is going round.
That invalid carriage will be on oxygen, won't it?
Absolutely.
He had to give it up as well, didn't he?
Yeah. That's it. This is unbelievable from Davis, who will be seething after his Chester Cup bet today. Was Spencered calling the wind for anyone that was on that was unlucky each way for sure. Okay, so that finishes the 2-point round. Just before I go on to the max bet round, I'd like to just highlight the week ahead. Sunday sermon as normal. Myself, John, and Chris. And on Tuesday evening for Patreon listeners, there's going to be a preview for the York Dante meeting. So that's all. That'll be me, John, Jack and Quentin going through the best of the York Fair for Patreon subscribers Tuesday night. But listen, if you don't want to give us the 7 notes, we understand. We're not totally shit, but we're not worthy of 7 notes. That'll be available on Wednesday morning at around 10 o'clock. For non-Patreon subscribers.
For £3.50.
yeah. Right, on to the 3 points. And hopefully we'll do the biz with the maxes. I certainly hope so myself. This is one I really like. And we go to, where do we go? 150 Lingfield we go. And it's gold medal, trained by the amazing South African trainer, the biltong himself, Dylan Cooner. And 7-2 for this, 3 on the nose. It's the price to get a clean run. Will it get a clean run? Well, if you'd have watched the race last time, you'd have thought, Christ, how has it won? Well, it clocked 21.85 for the last 2 furlongs. And we're in a class 5. Right, so just these are serious finishing fractions. So this horse has just got class in spades. I'd put the horse in the mid-90s. Doesn't mean to say it's a certainty, but what it does mean is if we get the breaks and we get the clean run, then gold medal will be making a hat-trick tomorrow down at Leafy to kick off their Derby and Oaks trial card. So 3 points win, 7-2 for me. Jack Attack.
Lingfield, 225. Boring, sacred.
Yeah, we've got a klaxon. We've got a short prize.
Get them wheezy arseholes.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll have to get that one. Look, completely agree with John as he rightly said. Sacred turns up, sacred wins. Even 90% at sacred turns up, sacred wins. Drawn well, more booked. This isn't going to be our biggest target, but she goes well fresh. I don't think anything in here is overly troubling. As John said, really disappointed with the other Haggis filly in the Curragh last time. Sandrine is never really a horse I've particularly warmed to. Took a while to get going last year as well. Obviously, first run on the all-weather, but as you said, Lee, Exceed and Excel should be no issues there at all. I made this one probably more around 11-8, 6-4 mark. So, whatever you said was available now, 7-4 is absolutely fine with me. 3-point win.
Klaxoni from the 2 better judges on this podcast on Sacred that goes in the Chartwell Fillies, and I can't really knock the bet at the price at all. Sometimes favs I know are a bit boring, but in this case I think this is possibly a good fav to be on side with. So thank you, Jack, for the klaxon. John Lang finishes off.
Here we go. This is dead interesting. This 130 Ascot.
Yeah.
Rhythmic Intent for friend of the show, Stuart Williams. Now, this one is a horse I've been monitoring closely, and I haven't had much to do because he hasn't been running much. He had a fairly truncated 2022, clearly had problems, but I think Mr. Williams has got this all sorted out because he's had him out nice and early this time for a nice sharpener over a trip that was too short. Shrewd. Expect some improvement here, I would say. Will handle the ground. They're studiously avoided fast ground with this horse. And he stays further than this. And I think the icing on the cake is Danny Tudor being booked, because you would be hard pressed to find a better pilot for 12 furlongs round here. 1.5 points each way.
Okie dokie. Interesting. So this is a by the way, Rhythmic Intent loves the ground, doesn't it? It loves, yeah. So yeah, 14-1, John, generally available. It's all yours.
Snap the fucking hands off.
Brilliant set of tipping. We've got a mixture there of fabs and a few big price selections chucked in. So what do you think to our selections? Let us know on Twitter if we're not totally shit or we are shit. You might let us know after the racing tomorrow. I don't know, but let's hope we can have a good weekend with us. We move on to the televised action tomorrow, so you can enjoy the TV action. Francesca Camani on today, bit of and the quilt was on, John, on the old ITV. He was mincing around the ITV crew.
Mincing?
Yeah, mincing. Yeah.
Are we casting aspersions here or what?
Well, old Charlie boy, he's, so I'll send him all.
I found it all very poncy, if I'm honest. I mean, it was all kind of very ego-y, and he should stick to trying to get his strike rate up, in my opinion. But
there's a bit of designer stubble there, isn't there?
well, on the other thing about the quilt, John, right? He seems to be not making the running as much. And
he's a fucking idiot, isn't he?
he's gonna take the strike rate right down.
I know.
The one year where you actually want to do that.
Absolutely, as we've seen. I mean, this is a talking point possibly for Sunday as well. But as John's pointed out today, I've looked at it, and it's now very difficult for horses to come from off the pace that need a good few persuaders.
I think it's going to be absolutely hilarious if that one I flagged up today becomes a Ledger horse and he holds it up at Ledger when he makes all.
Yeah. It's changing the game completely, and I think punters should be active on that in terms of their strategy when placing bets, especially if you've
got to be very careful backing anything held up.
Well, I would say the ones that are lazy, you've got to be very careful, because like you said, John, on past sermons, the ones that get the couple of cracks early to keep their mind on the job,
you run out.
They don't do it anymore. Because did you see the ones packing in early in the Chester Cup today?
Yeah.
They just now you'd give them like 2 or 3 before, and get them interested. But
I mean, like third favourite Ryan was used up after a lap.
Yeah.
I mean, if he's going to keep bringing that over here, he might as well shout it.
Yeah. Well, that's it. Will we get less Irish contenders in terms of?
Gordon Elliott, not Gordon Elliott. Tony Martin had one held up in the apprentice race there today. And I mean, it was a million once it established its track position 3/4 of the way back.
Yeah.
It was late. Sorry, but a bit of after time there, Jack. But
I mean,
not as big a gap as your Vicky Cup with us, but.
Yes, touche. I mean, the thing is for me, Jack, talking about the whip, it's the fact that, like, jockeys are expected to remember how many cracks they've given them. Now, I know for a fact that if I'm rowing away on one, and I'm in a sort of, I've a chance of winning, so 2 out, and I'd be thinking in my head, how many have I given this? Because the penalties are that severe that once if you go 2 over, you're basically in jail, aren't you? It's terrible. You lose plenty of livelihood. You might lose some big rides for some big stables. And I've noticed this today that jockeys seem to give like up to about 4, and then they sort of stop. as if they daren't go anywhere near the permitted level.
They're not the sharpest tools, are they? So counting's probably not.
The amount of suspensions that's been dished out, there's no fucking wonder.
Yeah, the PGA needs to get a good boss. Struthers, John, get Struthers back at the PGA.
They need to.
Yeah, and get it sorted out with the
idiots. Really, Dale Gibson just sat there like a fucking nodding dog.
A nodding skull. The skull head.
One of them skull heads in the back of a car, nodding away.
The skull. Right, anyway, let's start the TV preview. A nice diversion there on the whip debate. 1:30 Ascot. We've had a tip in this. Obviously, we've just discussed from Jonas Lang with Rhythmic Intent. I thought this was a trappy enough race, Jack. Just at the top of the market, Nathaniel Green has got some pieces of form last season for the shirt that make it beat the Ledger third Giavolotto that I was on that day. I didn't get anything beat. And then was fourth to Perth's Impressionist, travelling really well in that, but failing to get the job done. But it had a 3-month break, so I wonder if something had happened to it during that period. Sarume unbelievably mowed down flying solo at Epsom. No one could believe that. That was incredible.
The Davis special. I thought the rail helped massively that day, though. It was just a great ride from Buick, and now you've got Kevin, winner on the telly, Kevin.
He don't go home if he gets this beat, because it's the old Stotty. How's Stotty doing this week, John? Have you kept an eye on him? I don't think
he's performed to expectations, I would say.
Yeah, I was saying he's doing all right, is the lad? Yeah, he's just
carrots.
Yeah, oh, he's got the ammo carrots, of course.
He's sleeping with one eye open, though, isn't he?
I would.
He's the gorgeous boy of the weighing room, apparently. They'll rib him for it. So.
Yeah.
Right, so Jack, have you anything in this to add to John's sort of decent price selection?
Yeah, no, look, I liked John's case, really. I haven't got a lot to add. As I said, thought Sarumi was really benefited by the rail last time out. I know he's only going up 4, but I wouldn't be keen to row straight in again. Nathaniel Green, as you say, a little bit patchy. 12 is probably his trip, but yeah, not sure what kind of condition he'll be turning up in. So yeah, look, like John's case, happy to row him with that.
Good stuff. 205 race. It's another Fillies handicap for Johnny. Loves it. You can't get enough of them. Mounting Song would be my choice here. Even though there is a ground out, see the stars out of them, and Dagliadoro Mare, not certain to appreciate really testing conditions on the first try at turf. But if you look, the case is that I fancy one later in the Oaks trial called Eternal Hope, and I think it's strong form. I really do. That's why it went off 6-4 and hammered last time off 79. I don't think 86 is a hindrance. It's just whether it goes on the ground or whether she goes on the ground. I'm not sure, but that would be my selection if pushed. John and Jack?
Take it away, John.
Nothing for me. It's a Fillies handicap.
nothing at all.
Likewise, I'm afraid.
Yeah, are you nothing here, Jack, either?
No. I enjoy Fillies handicaps just about as much as I do veteran chases, if I'm being honest.
Yeah.
This is singing from my hand, okay?
I'm gonna say this is like John's understudy. This is John. It literally is. It's like listening to a young John from London.
Best compliment I've ever had.
240 Ascot, the Vicky Cup, and it's nice to see we've got plenty of action in this from Jack and Nick with their selections. Kingdom Come, Perotta, and Totally Charming for the East Ham boy. I liked Baradar before I saw the draw. I'm not certain that low draws are going to be best. We just don't know. That's the thing, though. I've checked the history through the Vicky Cup since 2008, and there's been 4 races run on ground softer than good, and 2 have actually won from low stalls. But it's all a bit inconclusive. I agree with Jack because the stats overall say that you do want to be higher, and so I'm not sure. I'm really not sure. But I thought Baradar travelled all over them in the Lincoln. If you remember on the pod, I said that basically I was worried about the mile for Baradar. I thought 7 furlongs it'd been all in bet, given that Bowie's only had it 2 starts, and I think if the draw's fine, then Baradar is probably the one to beat. I think that was a good trial for it in the Lincoln. John, thoughts on the race?
I would agree entirely with what you said about Baradar. Perotto, I was very interested until all this rain came. I personally think he wants quicker ground, but I think he's one to definitely keep on side. Now he's with a half proper trainer.
I'm going to say you look at the marker Perotto God, it's attractive, isn't it? 97. You know, the horse has spent the majority of the last nearly 2 years.
I can't really understand why Redding's risking spunk in this mark. You know, I mean, he could end up, you know, say the ground is a factor, and he finishes second or something, goes up 3 or 4. You know, just hang on, wait. You know.
Yeah. I think Roger, this is just a personal opinion. Obviously, they can get him fit and they can train, but I think he's a terrible placer of horses. I think he's the Newmarket Brian Ellison, John.
I don't think he's that good.
No, it's probably an insult to poor Brian there. Sorry, Brian.
Yeah.
He used to train my horses. If he's listed, he's going to go mad at that.
So you used to place.
Yeah, I did. Yeah. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Anyway, so I like it that we agree on that, and I'm hoping that success for either Jack or Nick in the Vicky Cup, one or the other. I'll be cheering them on as well. Right, we'll go to Lingers, where we've got the Oaks and Derby trial card that's been moved to the sandpit because Lingfield can take as much rain as. Lingfield's unbelievable. It's just got to get. I know it were a downpour of the day, but it's literally only ever going to get 20 mil and it's heavy. Doesn't seem to take it the track. So 150 was my best bet of the weekend, gold medal. I'm very attached to this horse, as are you, Jack.
I am indeed, Lee, and it was going to make the 3, but I'm a nice chap and I didn't want to ruin everyone's fucking price, but you did it for me, so no problem.
John, what do you think to that? Is that shithousery from me?
Well, I'd balk at calling it a shithouse, but they also almost made my 3, and then I thought, oh no, Jack will go fucking ape shit.
You're a good man, John. But no, look, I think this wins. 90 is about where they think he will be. Loves Lingfield. It's just all about the passage. Does something get in the way of him? But if not, should win.
Do you know what? I mean, I could get a nickname here called the Magpie because I've gone for Westerton, which I believe were Quentin's. Am I right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he talked it up.
And I've gone for gold medal, which obviously Jack's sort of in part of. And I mean, Magpie would be accurate here, John, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
And they're cunts.
Cuckoo.
And they're cunts, aren't they? They're
cuckoo.
Bit of both, cross between Magpie and Cuckoo.
That's as bad as it gets in the avian world. Yeah.
Do you know? To be fair, I do feel awfully actually.
Yeah, we know. Looking terrible, isn't it?
Right, on to the 225 at Lingfield. It's a Chartwell Filly Stakes. John's just informed us that the Caramilks have arrived. And just the 4 boxes, he says. So obviously Sacred is the Claxon horse, and I can't really add much because the chaps have already said exactly what I think. I think the only thing that gets Sacred beat is probably luck. That's it. That's why I think she's probably a decent bet at the price, like the lads have said. So we move on quickly because you've already filling your boots on that. 3 o'clock Lingfield is the Oaks trial. And Be Happy heads the market at 15-8. I'll start us off. I did watch the French race with Be Happy, and I did like her physically, but I don't think she's any great shakes at all. I don't think that was a particularly eye-catching trial. She didn't catch my eye in terms of finishing effort, or I thought, oh yeah, you've got a lot more to come. It's probably where she is, probably high 90s, I think. And I just thought Eternal Hope of the Sand people would be victorious, mainly because the horse is green on debut and was unlucky on debut not to win, and then next time off very slow fractions from the front runner that's obviously pissed up off 79, now rated 86. She did very well to mow this down. And not only did she mow it down, going through the line, she was going 3, 4, 5, 6 clear as they came to the pull-up. She was absolutely flying. So I think there's a lot more to come. And the angle will probably be as well, probably keep an eye on the Mountain Song filly earlier on. If she ends up winning that handicap, then obviously the price, I think, will drop markedly on Eternal Hope, because I think she's a very good chance here. And 7-2 isn't bad. Nearly made my 3. I should have probably kicked Gold Medal out, and made her my best bet.
The decent thing to do.
What a bastard I am. But anyway, Eternal Hope for me. John, what do you think?
Yeah, there was one I liked in here, Lee. Perfect Profit, the Ed Walker horse. And I don't really like Ed Walker, so for me to like one of his is quite a rarity. Yeah. I know, loosely know the owners of this one, and they say she's trained on well. They've actually got the Curragh in mind. They're not planning on going to Epsom. But I think, looking at their efforts, looking at her efforts, in the Mayhill, stayed on pretty nicely. You can already see the need to step up in trips from a mile to 12. And yeah, I thought she was a little bit overpriced on what she's shown so far. I completely agree with you about Be Happy. She was quite high on my list of Oaks fillies back in the last year, but I didn't like that reappearance at all. And she's gone backwards in my estimations. But yeah, just a bit of a mention to Perfect Profit for tomorrow for me.
I like the angle in terms of trip and everything. Obviously, Nathaniel, etc. And it's got like Nate the Great somewhere in the that could be a fair shout.
I would have preferred it on the slop, really, given that angle. But yeah, weather will have to do.
Yeah, with O'Sheen in the sub. John?
I don't know if Be Happy's grown a bit over the winter. It's a bit more angular and seasonal debut than she did last year. I thought enough to put me off supporting her in this. I thought the interesting one might be Bright Diamond, especially given the surface.
Yeah,
decent form really last year. Got beat by commissioning. I think that was probably as good as out on offer, really. I think Carl Burke's on the up.
Yes, I bet Bright Diamond in the Prestige, and I thought she was a bit unlucky.
Yeah, Spigot Lodge could be coming back to the glory days of Sam Hall, the way Carl Burke's shaping these days.
But there was a filly that ran today that you highlighted in your paddock notes.
I know, I wanted it for the pissing listed race at York next week.
And I couldn't agree more with you, because I felt that not only did she look the part, she shaped like a horse that's very, very genuine.
Yeah,
and really a real warrior kind of filly. And today she had to battle off the Amber carrots.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think she was suited to what they did today, making the run in and what have you. Whereas I think if they'd gone to York to that listed race, for a start, I'd have got 7-1, which I would have which I would have much preferred to the bloody 7-4 they had to take.
Yeah.
And secondly, she'd have just been able to sit on the shoulder of the ladies, and the sharper 5, I think, would have just seen her in a better light. I think she'd have had it won inside the final furlong. And
yes.
It's such a fucking shame he went there instead, but there you go. Still won.
Indeed. So yeah, like you said, Burke, he's probably the man at the moment, and for the North anyway, that's without doubt. Now I'd say Carl Burke in the North.
He's serious rival. Can't have a fucking runner, can he? So it's one-way traffic at the minute.
It is, yeah. Poor James.
Poor old Jimmy's under lock and key. So
yeah.
Doing porridge.
Absolutely. Poor James Horton. I got a feel for the lad. 3:35, the Derby Trial. The Calla Derby Trial. No, it's Fitzdares. Calla Gas. Remember when they sponsored it? Military Order is a strong favourite. Now, had this been on turf, I'd have agreed with that price. But given the fact that it's related to Adayar, and I'm thinking, you've seen the sort of knee action on this Frankel and everything else. I'm loath to fancy this at evens. And I think, for me, I'd rather be with Stouts, John, at 4-1. Because you said to me that Stouts possibly needed it a shade at Newmarket.
Yeah, proven on the all weather as well.
Yes.
I thought it still showed signs of being pretty immature at Newmarket as well. So I think there's definitely more to come from the horse. I don't think he's a Derby horse.
No, I don't. I don't. But I definitely think he's better than what he showed at Newmarket because the way he was ridden, he was like Victory Dance, the third horse, ridden off the pace, and Castleway just had his own way. And I like the way he shapes. I think there's more to come. I thought, if again, gun to head 4-1, that's where I'd be. Where would you be, John?
I'd say a circle of fire over Military Order, I think.
Yeah. Fair. Fair's fair. Jack?
Yeah, with you both, really. I do really like Military Order. I was there at Newbury last time, and he was very impressive. And to be honest, I'd be half inclined to, with the switch to the all-weather, pull him out of this and run in the Dante next week. But I'm not sure this is the best sort of prep for a horse like that. So, look, completely agree with you both and think he might be a bet for Epsom, but not for tomorrow.
Yeah, John, just a question on that. Jack raised an interesting point there.
Yeah.
Like, let's say you're, I don't know, a racing manager for whoever, and you're prepping your horses for a Derby or an Oaks. Why would you prep them on the all-weather?
Well, a lot of the work these days, let's be fair, is done on the all-weather. It's not like years ago where an all-weather strip was a rarity. Nearly every decent trainer in the country has access to an all-weather strip.
Yeah.
So it's not like it was before, where you went on the all-weather as a last resort. Now they're using the all-weather when the turf gallops are too wet, too dry, too whatever, because they're getting that consistency.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like Military Order wore the same all-weather before.
Yeah.
They've done loads on it. So, I mean, if we were going for a trial, and I had one with 3 runs under its belt, I honestly wouldn't give a flying frog's fat ass whether I was running on turf or weather.
No, fair point. That's it. So in John's experience, that matters hardly a jot. So Military Order Derby backers, don't be concerned that they're running as a prep on.
I'd rather run on all weather than slop. I mean, if they hadn't moved this and they were running in hot deep, I wouldn't want to be anywhere near it.
Yeah, no, good stuff. Right, so that completes the Lingfield and Ascot roundup. So I thought it was a bonus this week, as there's only 3 of us on the show this week due to illness, injury, and whatever. 250 long chomps Sundays where we're going. Some tremendous racing in France on Sunday for some avid flat racing fans.
I was just going to point out we were going to have Imran Khan on as a guest, but he got himself arrested, didn't he?
How can you arrest a cricketer of that standard?
I can't believe there was even enough policemen in Pakistan to go and volunteer to arrest Mr. Pakistan.
I mean, literally, when I grew up as a little boy, like, Imran Khan was just the best cricketer ever.
He should be on the fucking Pakistan flag, shouldn't he?
He should be. He's amazing. It's disgrace what's happening over there. Yeah. The cricketing legend. How could you go there and do that? It's like arresting your mother, John, isn't it?
Oh, well, I don't know. I'm happy to say my mother carted it.
We'll get to this racing in France. It's the Emirates Poulet Desai de Poulain. The Colts, the 2000 French Guineas.
That was up there with the Abernant. Fucking hell.
The hosting gets worse. I know, it's terrible. Anyway, Biden here, it's the obvious one. American flag. This has got gears like it's like a Bugatti. Is this? It literally is. It's brilliant to watch. It's won its last 3 races by 6, 3, and 2.5, and it's all been just motionless stuff. It looks a very, very good horse, this. I mean, I know Knight's in the race for Crisford and Doyle. We saw the show liked Knight a little bit. I know we do, but I can't see this American flag getting beat with another race. Jack,
Yeah, no, with you, Lee. I was almost going to be really wanky and put this up as a selection. I know he's short, but I just can't see him getting beat. To be honest, the only thing that can get you beat around here typically is the car park draw. He's not got that. Yeah, I can't see him getting beat. I obviously still hold faith in Knight, as I've mentioned on the Patreon. I'm willing to just write off his last run and go again here. I'd like to see him run positively, but he's got a lot to do, and so would all the others to beat American Flag.
And John, like Magnier, he'll be like literally with his bollocks bouncing off his knees. He'll be masturbating at the fact that this is a Wootton Bassett, John.
I just had a terrible mental picture there.
spindly legs. We two dangling walnuts.
Well, in my head, he only had a vest on.
Anyway, what's your thoughts on this, John?
I think I've thought enough about it, to be honest with you. I'll just hope the favourite wins, and I've forgotten all about what was sent tonight.
Right, so we're all American Flag fans for the...
Especially John Magnier, yeah.
Right, the 3:30, the same, but for Fillies. You two guys hate Fillies, don't you? You really do. Jack, leave me in this. Blue Rose Sen is going to be a short price favourite, I think.
Yeah, I'd imagine so, and I mean, she was very impressive again on reappearance last time out. I think I saw a price. She was just a shade of odds on, and you're probably not going to get much better than that. But again, boringly, I couldn't really find a massive reason to take her on. I did think Aiden's filly was pretty impressive at Leopardstown, and Matilda Picot didn't do anything terrible to that form last weekend, and then obviously Zarins won as well, so that form reads pretty nicely. But I wouldn't be rowing into a bet or anything, but I think she'd be Blue Rose Sen's nearest challenger. Yeah,
I'd be a Never Ending Story fan, because if you remember in the Moigler behind Tahira, Never Ending Story was like cruising and got stopped in a run. Well, obviously wouldn't beat the winner as we know, but would have certainly been a lot closer. So I'd go with that as an alternative. John?
But Kalina might run well. No, I couldn't be confident. I just think there was excuses on out there, and then I thought that was a fairly nice comeback run.
Yeah.
So, prior to the running out there, she was a filly of immense promise, shall we say. There's a Frank out of a mare whose progeny tend to do all right as they get old. I think, yeah. If I had to have a bet, I'd probably have a little play each one.
Good stuff. It's a nice shout. Like you say, there were plenty of excuses out there. Very, very deep ground that day. Ridiculously deep. 4:10 race is the Prix Saint Allery, sponsored by Magnier. He's knocking knees. St Mark's Basilica, Coolmore, Prix Saint Allery. I'm sure that...
just don't. I can't do this anymore. Just don't.
We love mental images on this year. Anyway, Jana Rose will probably likely go favourite. Very impressive last time. Real good turn of foot from the back. But the fractions suggest that race with Jana Rose and See the Lady, they were sat last and next to last, could have just favoured them in terms of maybe just look a bit flattering. And I'm just going to ask, obviously, Jack is very keen on Heartache Tonight for this season. But I think, Jack, as well, we're a bit surprised that Menisier has chosen this as a target, aren't we?
Yeah, I am a bit. And look, I really like David, and I know he listens to the show occasionally, so I don't want to say anything too bad. But I do question his race planning at times, and certainly on this occasion. I think that horse looked like it wanted 12 last time. I don't see what we're going to gain out of running her over 10 again. She did get a little bit of a stones ride and kicked too soon last time, but at the same time, look, there's a couple of good ones in there. Jana Rose, as you mentioned, I'd be trying to prep her towards an Oaks campaign, whether that be preferably ours, but or at the Curragh, and this isn't really helping that in all honesty.
John, are you in agreement with that?
Entirely. I'm very, very surprised he's running in what, again, promises to be a Dardle followed by a sprint. I'm just looking and wondering what the fuck Towser's playing at. Actually. I mean, what's the angle here with this thing that's got dicked in the thread down?
A girl in every port, John.
It could be the case, couldn't it?
Ooh la la.
Slim might have a little Parisienne thing tucked away, but...
Yeah.
I mean, what the hell's going on? Why is that running there?
It's an interesting one.
It's a very left field place in that.
Yeah. So, I'm in agreement with Jack and what he said about Heartache tonight. And it's a filly that I like as well. I think she could be really, really interesting over 12. But yeah, it's not something. I think this is moderate placing from the Frenchman.
Oh,
nice
vouchers are all of a quiver now, aren't they?
Yeah. It's not ideal, but anyway, that's their choice, and that's their right to do whatever they're going to do. They pay the bills, the owners, etc. And
we don't want that yard visit invite revoked, do we? So.
Exactly. Yeah. We need a yard visit off lovely man is here. Right, going to round it up here. It's been a nice show to do, just the three of us, and we hope we're going to provide you with plenty of winners. As I've said, please don't forget to join us on Sunday as usual for the sermon, and on Tuesday where me, John, and Jack will be back.
And don't forget to vote for us on the Smart Betting Podcast thing.
Yeah, how can I forget? Yeah, the Smart Betting Podcast Awards. It's SBC. If you look on Twitter, Smart Betting Club. The website, if you Google that or whatever, you'll find it. And they're doing an awards where we're up for best podcast. We finished 4th last year, so we weren't totally shit because we were 4th. So we need to better that, but we need your help to better the 4th place.
They refused to put a category on for not totally shit, didn't they? So
we'd win that.
We'd have pissed it.
We're up against some stiff competition. Obviously, you've got a lot of followers for the Wade In podcast and things like that. So it's obviously very difficult to beat them on numbers. But nevertheless, we've got a niche.
We want a moral win.
Yes, we want a moral win. We'll accept 3rd place or better. That's where we're at. If we're 4th again, then we're fucking not improved.
We haven't trained on, have we?
No, we've not trained on from 2 to 3. Oh, brilliant. Love it. Right, so that's all from us. We're back on Sunday as usual. Hope you enjoyed me, John and Jack. That's all from us. Bye for now.